So software supply chain, right? This is an upcoming threat vector. More and more malware authors are targeting the developers themselves, and they're using the platforms the developers have built to propagate malicious content to the unsuspecting end users. The idea is really simple but powerful. The developers build trust in their communities, they build reliable pieces of software, but targeting the developers and infecting the build process enables the malware authors to reach the audience which is unsuspectingly using the software and installing malware along with it. So software supply chain, or supply chain, is a critical piece in the software development infrastructure which needs to be protected. And there's many parts of the software supply chain. There's the open source libraries that the developers are using to build their code. There's their own build infrastructure which needs to be protected. And ultimately, there's the release package which needs to be investigated. So for us, we started at that very end, right? The release package, because at the end of the day, the users are going to be installing that release package. So how would somebody deploy ReversingLabs technology to protect the end user in this particular use case scenario? So we start with integrations. So GitHub is a really powerful platform out there today, which more than 3 million different developers are using to store the source code for their application, but they're also using it as a way to distribute the release packages. So in GitHub, which is a cloud-based platform, right, these developers are storing their releases. So alongside the repositories of code, there are releases. And there's many of them, and you can even track these releases by versions. So you can have V1 to V20 if you have released that many versions of software. And then the users will be able to use GitHub as a platform to download different versions of software and update their software as necessary. So what we at ReversingLabs have built is a process which uses our integrations, goes and monitors GitHub repositories, pulls down the releases, and provides the end user with a static analysis view in these applications. And this new type of a report really defines not only if there's malicious code within the application. That is granted, right? We're detecting malware. But that's not all we do. Since we do static analysis, we're looking at the composition of the package. So we give you the list of all of the file types which are present within the package. The reason why that's important is, well, let's say you're creating an application in JavaScript, and all of a sudden you see executable files being shipped as well. That is a red flag. That means that you have entries within your package that you did not expect. So even identifying what file is can help you detect a software supply chain as well. But it goes beyond that. We look at the indicators. So we tell you about not only what files are, but what will they do, right? Indicators are human readable descriptions of intent. So if you find a file which has an indicator which you did not expect, so let's say you have an application which is totally offline, but all of a sudden our indicators are telling you, well, this is going to connect to different addresses and it's going to start downloading files. Well, that is a great starting point for an investigation. And then you can see if additional pieces of code have been added without you knowing, right? If somebody has infected your build procedures. What else do we look for? We look for private data. And when talking about private data, we're not really talking about personal identifiable information. We're talking about things which developers use commonly. You're talking about, secret keys and configurations for cloud services. There's a high risk that these, if leaked, would be misused, and there's many cases like that out there today where private information like this, entry points to AWS cloud or something like that, are being misused by third parties, and they're raking up builds for unsuspecting developers. So we're looking for that, and we're also displaying that information. And then finally, how does this platform protect the user from the software supply chain is by storing a report about every single release, so from V1 to V20, in your GitHub repository, and making a computation of what has changed between each and every one of the versions automatically. So if we detect a change which is significant and which is a new capability of the application, you'll be notified right away, and you can use that information from our report to stop the release procedure and revise if that is indeed what the new functionality within the application is, that what you actually intended to add. So that's a powerful new way to automatically protect repositories from serving malicious and unwanted code.